DIY DETAIL Rinseless Wash V2. Just how much is it improved? Let's find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are going over the DIY DETAIL Rinseless Wash V2. Now don't fret, today is July 15th, the day of this recording. It came out on July 11th, as far as I know. That's when they announced it on their website and in their the forum group. But anyway, not in the 16-ounce bottles yet. I ordered the gallon jug, and I have extra empty bottles, so I decided to fill one up because it's a lot easier to pour out. So if you're wondering how I got this, that's how. But anyway, let me just say, in fact, let's get all the legal stuff out of the way here. I bought everything with my own money. Everything that you're going to see me use today, I purchased with my own money. None of this stuff was supplied to me. So, having said that, DIY DETAIL Rinseless V2. What's the difference? So, their V1, as you can see, is more of a, there we go, more of a translucent yellow. And the V2 is a milky, more of a milky, it's still yellow. So you can see the difference there in how the two look. According to Nick and Ivan on their most recent, I guess, video on this stuff, they did say that the V2 does have, they improved the cleaning ability or cleaning power of the product, but they also formulated it to increase the slickness. So they changed up things a little bit. And according to them, this has been basically 2 years in the making. They came out with their original V1, and ever since then, they've been trying to improve upon that, and now they've come out with V2. So having said that, what they do say is that you can use this for everything that you are used to using the V1 for. You know, clay lube, you know, the rinseless wash, obviously, washer fluid, windows, you know, wheel and tire cleaners. You know, if your rims are ceramic coated, you can use this waterless wash or rinseless wash on that. So in fact, there's so many different things that you could use this for. I won't have to make a dilution chart because, as you well know, rinseless washes can be used for a lot of different things, most companies call for different dilution ratios. So in order for me to keep things straight, I had to make up my own dilution chart. So anyway, here it is. So for the DIY DETAIL, the V2, all right, dilution chart, just in case, so you're aware that things may have changed, but here's my dilution chart. So as you can see, all the things I use it for, but yeah, they're all still 256 to 1. So anyway, you know, we've got to keep things straight, make dilution charts for whatever you need. You don't want to screw up things. So anyway, enough small talk. Let's actually, I have for our testing today, in fact, since I got it, we're going to do half the car with the V1, and then I'm going to do half with the V2. And because I want to see, is there a difference? Can you actually feel the difference? Can you tell a difference? The smell is the same, but can you tell a difference? So let's find out. All right, guys, so for our test today, what we have the original that you could see, the more translucent version. I mixed it up in a green bucket. I use an IK sprayer and I have the green handle. And then on the other one, we have the more opaque version in a red handle because we mixed it up in a red bucket. And then we have two Chemical Guys buckets, one with the blue mid slide, one with the orange. The orange goes to the red. And then we have, just to try and keep things fair, we have a DIY DETAIL, their legacy sponge. We have two of those, so we are going to soak those to try and keep things even. And then I'm also going to try, because a lot of times if you use a microfiber towel, the feel is completely different than if you use a sponge. So we have a couple of the auto fiber double flip towels for the, we're going to test that. So we will throw those in here as well. And then on the dry off, because we want to see how, like, does it really feel slicker? Because the regular version always felt slick enough with the sponge, but it was on the dry off that really, it wasn't always my favorite, because the towel would want to bunch up on me. And when a towel is bunching up on me, I need to grab it harder. I maybe want to press harder to like push it across the surface. And you know, that was pretty much my main complaint with the DIY, with the original, the V1 right there. So anyway, what we also have is two Rag Company Liquidator towels, both the same size, both the same towel. So trying to keep everything as equal as possible, because I want to really see if there's a difference between, or if I could tell that there's a difference between these two. So having said that, let's get going. All right guys, so we have our version 1 with the green. Again, it's the translucent bottle. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to spray the doors. I'm going to do the front and back door, and then I'm going to do the roof with the, so I'm going to do one door and the roof with the double flip, and then I'm going to do the another door and the hood with my Legacy sponge. And then I'm going to flip to the other side and then do the same with the new V2. And I'm going to try and see, in fact, when I get to the hood, I'm going to try and do them like really side by side right next to each other, because I want to see if there's any difference in feel on the product. So anyway, I'm going to start applying. All right, so I noticed when I was going around, I had a little bit of mud right here from sling on the tire. So I let it soak a second, and now I'm going to try and wet it down. I want to try and rinse some of that mud off, because I don't want any grit on the surface. I mean, that's the whole point of, you know, it's called a rinseless wash because you don't rinse afterwards, but you may need to do pre-treating or rinse it before. So I noticed with the mud, I'm going to rinse that off. All right, and just like that, I don't see any of the mud left over. It encapsulated. I was able to get it off with a simple, just with a little bit more product. So anyway, let's get started. Again, I'm going to do the roof and half the door, or one door. All right, let me bring you along. So cleaning the door with the double flip felt typical DIY. It's basically how it always feels. It's not super slick, but you could tell it's going across the surface. It's a smooth feeling. And anyway, same thing on the roof. And as you can see, I was able to spray half of it. But I'm just gonna go across. And again, the DIY, the original formula, was never known to be super slick feeling. Let's get to the sponge wash on the door. Now, one thing with the DIY detail, and I find this really odd because most other things aren't like this, but most other products or rinselesses that I've tried, especially the ones with the SiO2, when you use the double flip towels, they feel super slick with the towel, but not necessarily super slick with the sponge. The DIY detail, to me, feels different. It actually feels slicker with the sponge than it does with the double flip towel. So if you're looking for a method that feels best with the DIY detail, grab their sponge, works great, and glides across the surface really smooth. Let's get to the other side. All right, so we're on the driver's side of the car now, and we have the Rinseless V2. You can see the more opaque, milky version. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Gonna spray the doors, the roof, and we'll go through the same process. And then we're gonna do a side-by-side test on the hood again. And again, we got the same deal going on with the mud right by the back tire, so I'm gonna rinse that again with my solution and try and get any of that grit off the surface before we go with our contact wash. All right, just like that, I got the mud off again, or at least it appears I did. So we'll take our double flip and get the back door. All right, guys, let me bring you over to the roof again. We're on the V2. So I was actually really impressed on the door. It did feel much slicker to me. I mean, there was definitely a noticeable improvement in slickness with the towel. Now, that may have been because I wrung that towel out on the other side with the original version. Maybe I wrung it out more. So what I did is, just to make sure, I went back and I wrung this one out really good. I flipped it, and then now we're gonna do the roof, but I made sure I wrung it out really good because I wanted to make sure that maybe I wanted to make sure that's not the reason. Okay, so wringing it out a little bit more, it's not quite as slick as I felt on the door. However, and I can't really quantify this because obviously it's a feeling, but the V2, it does feel like it's sliding, like the wash towel is gliding a little bit better across the surface. Again, you know, it's not like I can measure it, or at least I don't have a tool to measure it. I'm sure that somebody could add a specific amount of product onto a towel and then drag it across with some type of meter. But anyway, with my test methods, it's basically feel and just how I feel. So let's get the sponge and see how the sponge feels on the door. All right, so we got our legacy sponge, and as you can see, we got the barely dripping, and like when they say on the verge of dripping, like maybe that's a little too much, but you do want it dripping. If it's not dripping at all when you're holding it like this, there's not enough water. So it does feel slightly different. Same thing with the sponge going across the glass. It does feel like it glides a little bit easier. A little bit of a difference on the paint. In fact, let's flip this over. And with any rinseless, you do not want to press, you just want to glide. Let the sponge do the work. And yeah, it's pretty much the, I'm almost getting the same results that I did. Same type of feeling with everything else. There is difference in slickness. It's not a huge difference. In fact, it's slightly noticeable on the surface. In fact, I'm gonna let this dry because I wanna see just how well this works on the dry off too. If there's any difference in how easy it dries off or the feeling on the dry off. So I'm gonna let this sit there and dry, and let's get over to the hood. In fact, let me get my bucket. We'll go to the hood and we'll do a kind of a side-by-side to where I can maybe do it, yeah, we'll just do it side by side. Maybe I'll take both of them at the same time. So let's get over there. All right, so we're in front of the car. On the left side, we're gonna do the Rinseless V1. So I got my bucket right here on the left, or on the passenger side, and then on the driver's side, we got the Rinseless V2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and split the car in the middle and see if I could tell if there's a difference. And then immediately, in fact, as soon as we get done with the hood, I'm gonna grab the 2 towels and see if there's a difference on the dry off. All right, so we're here with the Rinseless V2. I'm just gonna go right down the middle and then spray the rest. In fact, let's do the windshield too. All right, now V1 on the other half of the hood. And then the windshield. All right, guys, I'm putting the one sponge here with the V1. All right, now I'm putting the other sponge here with the V2 side. Let's see if I can tell there's a difference. All right, guys, so based on what I'm seeing and feeling right now, there is a little bit of a difference with the V2. Again, not a whole lot. There is a little bit of increased slickness. You can feel it. In fact, let me see the windshield. All right, so as I mentioned, yeah, you could definitely, there was a little bit of a difference. But on the V1 is still slick enough. Yeah, really not much of a difference. Again, it's a minute difference. In fact, let's see, that's about the middle. Let me just hit this with the V1. So yeah, there's a minute difference. Not a huge difference in feel, using the same sponges, the same vehicle, same paint, everything. Don't really notice a huge difference. But you know, this is still wet, both sides. Let's see how they act on the dry off. All right, so I have my 2 liquidator towels set up. Before this dries too much, let's see if I could tell if there's any difference in feel with the towel. You know what, honestly, guys? It's not a huge difference. You know, you really can't tell on the paint either. Yeah, I mean, both of them are leaving, from what it feels like, both of them leave nothing on the surface. You really can't tell much difference, if any at all, with the towel, at least not with these 2 towels. Barely anything. In fact, let me go on the glass and find out, see if I can feel anything different on the glass. All right, same deal again. Almost no difference in feel on the glass. Let's check out the roof and see how we're doing up there. All right, so I've washed everything. We're back on the passenger side. almost everything is completely dried off, as you can see. So let's check with the V1 again. So on the V1, as you could see, anything that was left behind, all the polymer spots, they just wipe right off. Even on my glass, hopefully you could see that. V1 glass polymer spots just come right off. No big deal. I mean, it's what I've come to expect from using the V1 DIY detail. The polymer spots come right off, or the surfactant spots, whatever you want to call it. The rinseless spots come right off. The towel doesn't go across the surface super smooth. It feels just like it always did, and why people might have been looking for a slicker product. Let's go to the other side. It's mostly dry over there now. All right, we're on the other side again, on the driver's side. There's a little bit more water left than there was on the passenger side, but there's a lot of dried polymer spots. Let's see how this works. I mean, same deal. Actually, you know what? On this, being almost dry, let's see. There is a definite improvement versus on that side over there where it was mostly dry, and on this side over here where it was still kind of wet. I did notice that there was a definite difference in towel feel, in slickness. Now, when it was wet on the hood, as you heard me say, you could barely feel any difference. I mean, it was, you know, I don't know, maybe a little bit, but you'd be really hard pressed unless you got it in your head that one was one or the other. You know, when you were telling yourself that there was a difference, you probably wouldn't feel it. But on the roof where there was still some water there, and I tried to use both towels on the wet side so that it wasn't just dry paint on dry paint. But there was definitely a difference in towel feel on the V2 side. So if you're hitting it where it's starting to dry, there is definitely a slicker feel. If you're hitting it while it's completely wet, almost no difference in feel at all. But again, if there's like it's half dried, something like that, there was definitely a difference in feel on the V2 side. So, and again, on the glass, the same properties, the polymer or whatever's in the product, the rinseless spots come right off. So anyway, guys, would I say go out and get some right now? No. Just honest opinion. You know, if you got, in fact, here again, the version 2, the more opaque version, or the V1 that you could see, if you got the V1, no need to rush out. No need to rush out and buy the V2. The feeling is almost the same. It's a minor difference. You know, save your money. Go through all your V1 first. Don't worry about getting the V2. Wait till everybody's got it in stock. You know, and maybe if you want to try it out, try it in a new order that you're putting in with the company, whatever it is, to get the free shipping. But no need to run out and buy it for the, you know, and pay for the shipping just to try it. You know, just honest opinion. Very little difference. There's, like, again, slight bit of difference, very little, but both of them clean very well. They don't leave any slickness left on the surface. In fact, that's why people like DIY Detail, because they don't leave anything on the surface. They're not like Absolute. They don't have the SiO2. Do I wish that they had like a, you know, a polymer version or like a separate version? Yeah, because I like that slick feeling. But on the other hand, as far as pure cleaning ability, this stuff's always a winner. And so anyway, you can't go wrong with either version 1 or 2. And again, don't rush out, spend your money if you already have V1. Just honest opinion. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And if you made it through the whole video and you actually like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. And if you like what you see and you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. And well, have a great day and thanks for watching. Bye.